Ladies and gentlemen, Kadarius Toney is the most psychotic wide receiver in the NFL. Even Antonio Brown disapproves of his behavior.
Got a lot of talent, Tony. Let's keep focused, man. Don't worry about what people say. Stay out my DMs, man. It's pretty much.
From violently threatening fans on social media,
get your ass on my DM unless you drop in the attic. Now I got this ring, now he's mad at me.
to faking injuries.
I say, see, he ain't got no personal accountability. I told that. See, I've been telling you that for the longest time. He just told you.
From my standpoint, I'm just gonna go back to what I normally used to do and not post it all, so to give y'all nothing to talk about.
And now, Kadarius Toney, right before the Super Bowl, is making some insane allegations about his own team.
Y'all reading all this cap ass shit? You feel me? Believe it, I don't give a
So it tells me he still haven't learned his lesson.
I think he learned his lesson.
How?
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have finally had enough. But the NFL world should have seen this coming even before he was drafted.
Wide receiver Kadarius Toney immediately identifies himself.
I'm gonna pat you down, make sure you got no firearms on you, all right? What's your name? Kadarius Toney. Also, he didn't stop right away. It was freaked me out.
Kadarius Toney began his college football career with the Florida Gators, but because he was on the reserves, this would give him free time to hang around and get in trouble. His blazing speed made it clear that he was a weapon on the football field, but he also had a fascination with weapons off the football field. The first incident occurred in 2018 when Toney and some teammates were suspended for the first game of the season for an on-campus confrontation between the Florida football players and locals.
Kadarius Toney and Kyrie Campbell were carrying airsoft guns that looked like assault rifles.
The alleged victim, Devontae Zachary, is known as a gambler who was originally friendly with the Gators players until he started losing money on his bets. We don't know if the gambler was threatening these Gators players, but this just showed a lack of judgment by Toney, deciding to paint the gun, make it look like an AR-15, and point it at somebody on campus. This was dumb, and he's lucky he did not have a worse punishment. Another incident would occur that same year where Toney was caught this time with a real loaded AR-15 in the backseat of his car. Officers were troubled that Toney and his friends did not originally stop when they tried to pull him over. Toney was not arrested, only detained because he technically did not violate Florida's open carry laws due to the rifle being in the backseat. He claims to have done this for self-defense against Devontae Zachary, the gambler we mentioned earlier. Toney would only receive a slap on the wrist for all this, but NFL draft scouts still question Toney's commitment to football due to his pursuit of a rap career in college, going by the name Young Joker.
Ain't going out my way, that shit ain't came to me. Got your blessing, now you niggas should've prayed on me.
Can you give us some freestyle on the way out before you hit the bus?
Nah, that's gonna cost you right there.
Toney's athletic ability and speed was undeniable, and it still led Joe Judge, the head coach of the New York Giants, to select him in the first round of the 2021 draft.
The New York Giants select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida.
The Giants thought they were smart, looking beyond the red flags, but this would be a decision the New York Giants would quickly regret. Not even 3 weeks into Toney's rookie season, he already began making cryptic posts on social media. Toney was frustrated with his lack of targets, speaking to Joe Judge on the sideline. So after the game, he would make cryptic posts on social media. I don't be mad. Shit just be lame to me for real. Obviously, the media talked about this cryptic post. People were wondering why the rookie was so upset so early in the season, and Toney doubled down on social media, calling all the reporters clowns on Instagram, media some clowns, but I'm above that. Literally. Let me remind you, this was week 3 of his rookie season when this was already happening, and he had to address it immediately at a press conference.
Before I get started, I want to address the elephant in the room with like social media. I know a lot of stuff was misinterpreted by me talking about the Giants or whatever. It had nothing to do with the Giants.
So what were you referring to with the initial thing?
That's really a personal issue. I mean, a personal matter. I don't really want to address it like that. So, I mean, that's why I left it what it was.
What have you learned about social media?
what can happen when you post things on social media?
What I learned?
Yeah, what you learn?
I really learned that, I mean, it's really y'all job to, create whatever y'all gonna create out of whatever y'all want it to be out of. So from my standpoint, I'm just gonna go back to what I normally used to do and not post it all, so to give y'all nothing to talk about.
So it tells me he still haven't learned his lesson.
What do you say to the idea that by responding to some of these things means you're listening to it, that you're hearing it, and you're letting it affect you?
That's what it looked like in y'all point of view. It really don't sway me this way or that way, because at the end of the day, I still got to come in, do my work, do my job.
So then why respond?
What you mean? Because I got them out.
Tony clearly let his emotions show throughout this press conference. It was as if the attention of the New York media was just too big for him to handle. Later on in the 2021 season, Kadarius Toney would have his best game as a New York Giant, gaining 189 yards on 10 catches, but this would be in a blowout loss to the Dallas Cowboys, and Toney let the emotions get to him and ruin this stellar performance by getting ejected and swinging at Cowboys safety Damontae Kazee.
Apologize to the entire organization, owners, my teammates, and all of Big Blue. Your emotions can just get the best of you sometimes. No excuses, just actions.
Oh, what a great guy. Little did we know at the time that these social media antics, whether positive or negative, would continue to haunt him for the rest of his career. Kadarius Toney had a disappointing rookie season with the Giants, and it became clear that his lack of knowledge of the Giants offense was not due to injuries and missing practice, but in fact reports emerged later on that behind the scenes he had poor film study practices, and the coaching staff of the Giants questioned his commitment to the team. Maybe they should have known that he wouldn't be big on the film study when he said in a press conference he did not really watch football until 2 years ago.
Not really. I really didn't watch football until probably like 2 years ago.
General Manager Dave Gettleman and head coach Joe Judge, the people who drafted Toney, would be fired and replaced by Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. In 2022, under Brian Daboll, Toney would miss OTAs. And around this time, Brian Daboll would even tell the media that the wideout doesn't even have the Giants' new playbook yet. So in 2022, Toney would only play 2 games for the Giants before missing 5 games due to a hamstring injury. I say injury in scare quotes because Toney basically admitted that he faked it. Toney was traded to the Chiefs from the Giants for a 3rd-round pick in the middle of the 2022 season after missing those 5 games. Giants fans would create memes and talk about his injury issues, but Toney would write a post that he would later delete, saying that joke would have been funny if I was actually hurt still, lol, irrelevant people don't get updates. And many reporters and Giants fans jumped on this, discovering that Toney is basically admitting to faking an injury while with the Giants. He would go a step further and celebrate a touchdown with the Kansas City Chiefs by doing a fake hamstring injury celebration. The man doubled down, and this would spark outrage among Giants fans and set the stage for the drama to come. Toney would find ways to contribute with the Chiefs in 2022, notably returning a punt for a touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was in this moment that Kadarius Toney was riding high.
Man, I'm feeling surreal, man. I'm just taking it all in right now.
He could have gone out in a blaze of glory and looked like the man who was only held back by the Giants organization, but instead, his ego prevented him from taking the high road, and he would want to get the last laugh against Giants fans. After winning a Super Bowl with the Chiefs the next summer, Toney would be recorded inside a jewelry shop, and he could not help but send a message to New York Giants fans after riding high winning the Super Bowl.
Everybody in New York. I'm gonna go to the middle of New York with this middle finger.
But Toney would quickly regret this activity. He had already shown an inclination to be obsessed with social media, and this diss towards the Giants fan base would unleash the trolls to go after him, and it seemed like Toney really let all the nasty comments get to him.
Many New York fans mad at me, like, I really give a fuck. Like, I don't hold a record over there. Like, y'all championship ain't older than my niece and nephew put together. Like, shit, bro, that's on y'all and y'all GM. I don't really give a fuck. Shit, buddy traded me. I just made my move, went with my move, and made something out of it. Now I got this ring. Now mad at me. Y'all can't get mad because it ain't no blue ring. It's a red one with a K and a C on that bitch, and I love them folks. Hey, look, I love trolling. They try to troll me. I got some phone.
After giving the middle finger to Giants fans in the summer of 2023, a Giants troll, Kayvon Ojulari, would instigate a DM fight with Kadarius Toney. You could see them mocking his music in a message at 2:57 a.m. in the morning, not the best time to send a message. The key thing that triggered Toney was when this troll said you miss Daniel Jones, Toney's former quarterback with the New York Giants. That's why you're mad. And Kadarius Toney would go on to send messages where he would threaten this troll with violence and ask them to send their address.
You talking about miss Danny Jones? Apparently he missed me, ass nigga. I can show you the call log, bitch. He calling me, blowing me up. You talking about hoe ass. I don't give a fuck about no muted shit. You talking about bitch ass. You ain't slid on no block. You ain't pulled up on me yet. You ain't talking about shit, but in my DM, pull up, nigga, or shut the fuck up. Period.
What was odd is that Kadarius Toney claimed that Daniel Jones is calling him a lot.
Well, tell that nigga stop calling me then if you don't miss me, fuck ass. Get your pussy ass on my DM, nigga, unless you dropping an addy, fuck.
It's crazy that Toney was not disciplined after saying these threats to this person. Yet another person on Twitter tagged the Chiefs and saying, your players are out here telling people to pull up. Sounds like he's threatening people to me. Y'all are good with this? We know the Kansas City Chiefs do not really care about character issues. They never really put any harsh discipline on Tyreek Hill, even though he had a lot of his legal trouble while he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. What Toney did is really no different than what Damon Arnett did with the Las Vegas Raiders, a former first-round pick.
Man, I swear to God, I will kill you, nigga. On everything I love, I will kill you, nigga.
Arnett made threats to trolls on social media, and he was quickly released by the Raiders. Now, I'm not defending this troll here. This guy really does seem like a loser. He's clearly trying to instigate a fight with Kadarius Toney. He's saying mean things to him that he would never say to him in person. This was not the only Giants fan that Toney messaged to. He messaged another individual, calling him a bitch-ass white boy, calling him a pussy. Toney also went next level, talking to a Giants podcaster, Big Blue Mal. She was criticizing him on social media, and so he DM'd her with a picture of her that he saved to his phone and sent to her, saying the F is this, ugly ass mother effer. Focus on lipo and some other shit instead of me. Not gonna lie, that is pretty funny. Kadarius Toney calling this woman fat. And I honestly find most of these Giants fans annoying. Anybody who's going to harass football players on social media is kind of one of the lowest degenerate individuals in the world, especially given the fact that most of them, besides Big Blue Mal, do it anonymously. But just like in college, Kadarius Toney showed a sign of being irresponsible. He instigated this with Giants fans by telling them to F off in the offseason. And now that he was showing that he could not handle all the attention that he was receiving, and it was causing him to lash out. The start to the 2023 season was not great for Kadarius Toney. In a primetime matchup between the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions, Kadarius Toney dropped multiple passes. One key critical pass that he dropped led to an interception. So of course, he was trolled on social media by Giants fans after this game, and it led to Kadarius Toney deactivating his Twitter account, once again showing how he lets a lot of the negative attention get to him. He would continue to have struggles throughout the regular season, which led to Antonio Brown talking about his performance.
He was out of focus. He had sex last night. He stayed up. He forgot he had a game. He didn't even know the ball was coming. Shit was hitting him in the ball was beating him up. Butterfinger.
Exactly.
He ain't catch
That's what I'm talking
He can't catch
about.
a cold.
That's a nigga can't catch a cold.
Bench him, man. Get him out the game. He don't want it.
And this upset Kadarius Toney so much that he even DM'd Antonio Brown.
He DM'd AB and he told AB, keep my name out your mouth, little bro. And AB responded, shut the f up and catch the ball, jit.
Oh, I know usually when players respond to what other people are saying, they reacting, that just mean they really not focused. So my whole thing was to Toney, like, you got a lot of talent, Toney, let's keep focused, man. Don't worry about what people say. It's not about what people say, it's about what you do. So, man, do your thing. Shout out to Toney. stay out my DMs, man. It's pretty more girls.
This is how you know you have a problem, when Antonio Brown is telling you need to chill out. Antonio Brown, obviously known for his wild antics off the field and sometimes on the field when he's taking his shirt off, he was actually giving Kadarius Toney great advice. Part of the advice he's giving him is to not pay attention to the noise, and when you are paying attention to the criticism, to the trolls on social media, you're likely not focused. And even though Antonio Brown, a veteran wide receiver, was trying to pass on this wisdom, Kadarius Toney just could not accept it, and it even offended him. In week 14 against the Buffalo Bills, the Chiefs would lose, even though they would have a game-winning play that was called back due to Kadarius Toney being offsides. Pundits criticized Toney mainly because he did not take responsibility for his actions and instead chose to blame the officials for not reminding him before the play.
Inch, 2 inches, whatever in front of the ball, the referee got a job to let me know, I guess you could say. I mean, he didn't make no effort. You watch the video, he didn't make no effort to say anything about no alignment, so.
It's the 2 A's, alignment and assignment. You can't do a damn thing on the field if you don't know your alignment or your assignment. That's your responsibility. I say, see, he ain't got no personal accountability. I told that. See, I've been telling you that for the longest time. He just told you. Instead of saying, you know what, I was wrong. I lined up off sides. I've got to do a better job of making sure my alignment is correct, because that falls on Kadarius Toney. That falls on me.
It was quite clear in 2023 that Kadarius Toney just did not live up to expectations. And this really was on display in a matchup against the New England Patriots when Patrick Mahomes, frustrated with Toney's performance, just lost it on the sideline.
He's not going to trust him anymore. It's coming down to a critical situation, and that's where the ball has to go because he's open, but I don't trust him. I'm losing trust.
Mahomes is a guy who usually keeps his cool most of the time, but the 2023 season with Toney and a lot of these bad wide receivers just broke Mahomes, and he could not help but flip out and display his frustration. The lowest moment for Kadarius Toney would happen right before the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens in 2024. Toney had not suited up since week 14 for the Kansas City Chiefs, and a lot of people thought he would be active for the championship game. What is so odd is that Toney was a full participant in Wednesday practice.
Your fans mad at me like I ain't really give a fuck, like I don't hold a record.
Out for the AFC Championship game, the game that gets you into the Super Bowl. Shockingly, right before the game, Toney would take to Instagram and claim that the Chiefs are lying about his injury status.
All these pussy ass, they try to play me. Oh God, bitch ass. I just don't gotta get on this bitch and be on no pussy shit, go clear no shit up, cause I don't really give a f. I don't f y'all. Have y'all niggas to really do something, I do something here. Hey, I ain't get on that. Oh God, but hey, look, y'all reading all this cap ass shit, you hear me? Believe it, I don't give a f. I ain't never been that to go do all that. But yeah, man, that shit cap. I'm not hurt, none of that shit. Say that shit, suck my dick too. Oh God, not hurt, none of that. Hip, been, it go from hip to ankle to this to that.
This got so crazy that Andy Reid had to clap back against these allegations.
I found it difficult to follow what he was saying, but it did seem to be that he was saying he was not hurt. Can you expand upon what his situation is a little more, Coach?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he's been on the injury report. So, I mean, I got that part as that's not made up by any means, but
even though Toney's a wacky guy, this is some sketchy behavior by the Chiefs, and it's quite clear that they're trying to move on from Kadarius Toney. They already did not have him play in the AFC Championship game, and it's an open question if he'll even play in the Super Bowl. And this is wild because the former first-round pick for the New York Giants was on top of the world in 2023. But being fixated on social media and what trolls have to say led to a lack of focus, just like Antonio Brown tried to describe, and it clearly caused Toney to make key mistakes on the football field for the 2023 season. On top of this, after being officially ruled out, Kadarius Toney deleted his Instagram account and also deactivated on Twitter, only to later reactivate just to make those allegations against his team. This just shows how important social media is to this guy and how much it bothers him. It's unfortunate because he has the athletic ability to be one of the most dynamic weapons in the NFL. But now, if the Chiefs are not willing to roll with this guy and even activate him for their most important game of the season, it doesn't seem like any other team in the NFL world are going to be willing to take a chance on him next year. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Is it completely over for Kadarius Toney? Did the Chiefs make the right call? If you're watching this deep into the video, I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to see more content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.